Welcome our first keynote speaker of the night, His Excellency Mr. Zayed bin Rashid الزياني, Minister of Industry, Trade and Tourism of the Kingdom of Bahrain.
Al Khalifa, Deputy Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I'm honored to be here with you tonight to give you my take on what leadership is and how we're working towards achieving leadership initiatives at the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Tourism in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Before I go into our initiatives, I would like to share with you what leadership is. Leadership is often confused with management, whereas the two are completely different. Managers are entrusted to facilitate achieving goals of their organizations and their teams. However, leadership can develop from the bottom of the organization all the way up. It doesn't have to come from the manager. It doesn't have to come from the most senior person. It can come from any level of the organization, regardless of age, sex, background, or ethnicity. Furthermore, it doesn't have to be associated with a title or a business card. It could be a simple idea that reflects on the organization's profitability or processes or the well-being of the organization. The second concept that I'd like to share with you is that, again, it's often misled that leadership has to stem from the top down, whereas in many cases, we see it flowing the other way around. In many cases, you find the youngest member of an organization sticking out, whether it's a sports team, or an organization, or a government agency. So it's not necessarily that it follows a hierarchy, and it's not necessarily that it goes from top to down. There are many types of leaders. I've summarized 6 of them. The first one being the pace-setting leader. The pace-setting leader expects and models excellence and self-direction. This works when the team is already motivated, skilled, and quick results are expected. Basically, the motto here is do as I do now. The second is authoritative. An authoritative leader basically mobilizes the team towards a common vision and focuses on goals, regardless of how you get to these goals. This works best when the team needs a vision because circumstances have suddenly changed. This can be best summed as "come with me." The third is affiliative. This is created by having emotional bonds that bring a feeling of belonging to the organization. Basically, this is most useful at times of stress and when the team needs to heal from trauma or from disasters. This can be best summed as people come first. Fourth type is coercive. A coercive leader is a leader that achieves or requires immediate compliance. This works in circumstances, again, of turnarounds or emergencies, like natural disasters. This can be best summed as, do what I tell you. The fifth one is coaching. Coaching is a leader who develops people for the future. It works best when building a team for the long-term strategy. And this can be best summed as, try this. The last one is a democratic leader. The democratic leader usually strives for consensus through participation. This usually works when you have to have buy-in and ownership of a decision or a new strategy or a common goal. It also is commonly used when fresh ideas are required. And it can be summed as, what do you think? In my opinion, a leader is summarized in 6 alphabets. Funny enough, it spells out as chippy, not that it means anything. The first one, the first alphabet, C, stands for courage. The courage to speak out, speak your mind, especially if you're addressing your superiors. Don't be shy, and don't shy away from a good presentation. The second is humility. Always think of the team, never of the individual. Be strong enough to accept failure, yet be human enough to share success with the rest of the team. The third innovation is to think outside the box and think beyond the boundaries of the norm. Challenge the system and challenge the process. Fourth is perseverance. Don't give up easily, whether it is giving up on your belief or giving up on your goals. Fifth is honesty. Lead by example. Do what is right for the team, not necessarily what's right for you. And the fifth is empowerment. Allow the team to get along with the execution. Don't get in their way. Give them enough authority to execute the plan. These six, comprise the vision of the leader. And that vision has to be communicated clearly to the rest of the team. Communication is very critical. Often messages are lost within poor communication. Make sure the message is communicated clearly, especially at the start of the process. It takes time for people to get to know each other, for teams to blend to one another. Communication in the beginning is very critical, and it has to be clearly communicated. Also, in the beginning, a leader has to have tolerance, patience, fairness, and firmness. All these have to blend in to make a successful recipe for leadership. A leader has to be the first person to sacrifice on the team. At times of a crisis, be the first to jump in. At good times, be the first to step out and let the rest of the team enjoy the glory. How do we create leaders? Who's responsible for leaders? In my opinion, it's a triangle. It starts with education and upbringing. It starts from the home, the family, how they raise their kids. There's an obligation on the education from the family as well as from the state, in the schooling system, in the curriculums. The community as well gets involved with that. Parents and communities should work hard together in investing very much into the education and upbringing of the new generations. Second, youth improvement. We have to reinforce the message to the youth. Give them hope, give them clarity, give them tools to excel, encourage the entrepreneurial skills in them, give them a chance to succeed, give them a second chance if they fail. Third is the private sector. The private sector has to play a vital role and not to rely on the government sector to develop everything. I take a case of Bahrain. More than 100 years ago, we hardly had a structured government in Bahrain, but we had a private sector that supported the economy. We grew our own food, we fished our own waters, and we traded as far as India and China. Today, unfortunately, we see more reliance on government, we see more demands of government, whereas communication, logistics, and facilitation are much easier to do trading with other countries. I would like to close with 3 images. The first one I call Change of Fortunes, and this I'm sure our friends from Manchester will understand very clearly. May 2013, a true leader wins the league, everybody's happy. He leaves the team. 2014, disaster. 2016, the disaster continues. Yet, in 2013, the same team that won the league with 11 points spread came 7th the following season, 38 points behind the winning title. What has changed? The leader. This was an organization built on one leader. When the leader left, the organization crumbled. I would like to compare that with another exercise, what we call in Bahrain the shining example. In 2004, we enjoyed our first F1 race. Prior to 2004, we knew nothing about F1 or motorsports. I'm proudly today, 12 years later, standing here in front of you, proud of this Bahraini team which started from nothing, made up of volunteers, working very hard, led by the vision of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, a team from Bahrain that not only succeeded in organizing 12 Grand Prix in Bahrain, but carried out the first Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the first Indian Grand Prix, and this year, the first Uzbekistan Grand Prix. We have managed to take a group of motivated young boys and girls. We've turned them into a team, into an industry, and we are getting paid for it. So we have monetized our human capital out of nothing. The leadership here, this is a true example for leadership that we are very proud of. There was leadership at the top from His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, from His Majesty's vision, from His Royal Highness, the Prime Minister, to set up Bahrain and position it as a world scene for F1. There was leadership in every member of that team who took on the challenge and the initiative, some as young as 17 years old, with no experience, some of them available in the room today here, I'm sure, and they've taken Bahrain to the international scene. This is an organization built on a team, not on an individual. This is an organization that will last forever. I'd like to leave you with the last one. Great leaders overcome and create more great leaders. It is the duty of every successful leader to create more leaders when he leaves the organization. A leader who fails to hand over and create another leader is a lousy leader. Thank you very much.